Hey now, hour number 2 of the Line Talk 99.5 and Talk995.com. Starting you off with Noto Roofing and OTLRoofing.com. That's a NotoRoofing.com. My roofing buddies, my roofing friends. Talked to Chris over the weekend. We usually, I say that all the time, but we just kind of BS back and forth. We were both watching UFC over the weekend. Sean Strickland. You remember, I know you don't watch a lot of UFC, but remember we played that press conference on the podcast with Sean Strickland?
Oh, my gosh.
He ended up winning, and he was almost shocked that he
course.
won because the past few matches he's had, I don't think have gone well from what I remember. But he's a guy that just kind of speaks his mind, and he's, he says some things that are off color, but, it's who he is. And he showed Matt, like the guy, he said a lot of stuff about Mexicans, and the guy he was fighting was Mexican and ended up showing the guy a lot of respect after the fight, which a lot of them do, which is cool. But anyway, Chris is out there today, man. Pounding the pavement, hitting the roads, out there inspecting roofs and getting people fixed up, man. And you can be next on that list, especially part of the Hey Now Nation, man. They take good care of you guys. You just got to call them and get that free roof inspection. It is the number. Not just free roof inspection, but complimentary roof tune-up. You know the drill. 205-848-2299 is the number. It's 205-848-2299 and online, notoroofing.com. Just make sure you mention me when you talk to them. I know y'all take my advice on that because they tell me they hear from y'all all the time. So just keep it up, man. I want y'all to make sure if you got to spend money, you're spending money in the place. It's going to take the best care of you. And that's exactly where that's at. But pure patriotism coming out of Jack Hughes and really the entire USA men's hockey team. Props to the women's team too. I don't want them to get overshadowed, but back to back, and the Canadians thought they had it, like because they're hockey. They Canada is hockey, and we just went in there and just rocked their ish, man, rocked their ish. And now because of that, Donald Trump has invited the men and women's team to the State of the Union tomorrow night.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to go, but he invited them. And he said, let's see, in the midst of congratulating the team, that was when he was on the phone with them. He asked them if they wanted to come to the State of the Union address on Tuesday because, hey, let's be honest, there are going to be a few extra seats. It's a bunch of crybaby Democrats are leaving or not showing up to go do their own thing. He said he could arrange a military plane or something to get the team to D.C. The team enthusiastically accepted and asked if they could be picked up in Miami Tuesday morning because they've got to fly back Tuesday morning because the Northeast is about to get hammered with like 2 and 3 feet of snow. So Kash Patel then responded to Trump, quote, "I got it, boss. I got it. I'm effing on it." And he is, quote, driving the bus to get them to D.C.
Man, I was hoping they'd fly Air Force One or two.
That would be dope.
Man, Cash is going to have a blast. Miami to D.C. He's got to take video.
I mean, if he's flying back with them, which I doubt he is, but if he did, they could just all come back to D.C. together. Trump told the men that he will also be inviting the gold medal winning U.S. Olympic women's hockey team, adding that he would probably be impeached if he didn't. U.S. women's team beat the Canadian women's team on Thursday in a thrilling 2-1 overtime victory. As you know, Trump also said that he would hold a White House reception on Wednesday for the teams where he would present them medals. So that's it's kind of a given that you go at that point. If there's a White House ceremony for you guys winning the medals on Wednesday, you might as well go up Tuesday, a day early for the State of the Union.
Oh man, you got to.
Dan Scavino posted from an official photo of Trump, who was on the phone. He was at a podium when he was talking to him. So I don't know if this was during a press conference that he called him or what. Quote from the White House, President real Donald Trump congratulates the USA hockey men's hockey team following their historic win against Canada in the 2026 Winter Olympics men's gold medal game on Sunday. The only thing that sucked is it was like first thing in the morning. Like I woke up and just called it a celebration.
Yeah.
Even on short notice, there should be plenty of room for the men and women's teams in the House chamber Tuesday night, as many Democrat senators and congressmen have announced they're boycotting the State of the Union, as you know. So, good for them. Oh, good for them. Speaking of what Trump's doing, I want to play this for you real quick and just get your reaction. So, on C-SPAN, you know how C-SPAN has these call-in shows, right? And they just talk about a plethora of topics. And you call in and you say, I'm John Smith, and I'm from North Carolina, and I'm a Republican, or I'm so-and-so, and I'm a Democrat. And they bring you on, and you just, it's kind of a boring talk show, right? And during one of these shows over the weekend, one guy calls in, and he claims he's a Republican, and he says his name is John Barron. Here's what he said.
Well, this is John Barron, and this is the worst decision you ever have in your life, practically. Jack's going to agree with me, right? But this is a terrible decision. And you have Hakeem Jeffries, he's a dope, and you have Chuck Schumer, who can't cook a cheeseburger. Of course these people are happy. But true Americans will not be happy. And you have the woman earlier, I assume she's a woman, she's a Democrat, but she said she's disgraced. She's devastated.
All right, John.
This.
We'll go to Chester, who's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
So John Barron calls in to talk about the tariffs. This was after the Supreme Court ruling, and he's very upset by it. And, of course, the internet's like, oh, my God, Donald Trump is calling C-SPAN, trying to pretend like it's not him. John Barron was actually the pseudonym Trump used for himself when talking to journalists back in the day. Do y'all remember that? He used to call journalists and troll them and talk, pass along good information about himself. But that's good. There's actually people on the internet that think that was, and that's obviously somebody pretending, doing their Trump impression, but it's still funny. It's got people like, oh my God, what Trump? It's called C-SPAN. It's good. Stacy's an Arab. Stacy, what's up?
Hey, not much. I just gonna holler at you and see how things are going. We got a bill finally down in Montgomery to maybe help these prisons out.
Oh, Stacy George, what's up, my friend?
Yeah, not much, man.
Yeah, you sent me the bill. Give me a little backstory on that.
All right, so I've been going down for a while, forever trying to get support for this to the legislature. For the last 2 weeks, I drew up a bill myself, and I called it the Bully with the Badge Elimination Act. And so, I've been going down there and talk, I gave it to 105 House members, 35 senators. And for the last 2 weeks, I've been in Montgomery saying, hey, we got to do something about these guys. Not everybody needs a badge. And we're talking about the people that are bad, and we've got to do something. So anyway, Larry Stutz, Senator Stutz, who's been very passionate and compassionate about these inmates and their families and incarcerated individuals. Well, anyway, so he draws up a bill, and my state senator signs on to it, which is Wes Kitchens. And so we got 2 Republicans and I think 3 Democrats that have signed on to this bill, and it's SB 316. And Larry Stutz said that through his, conviction, I left all the scriptures and stuff for the last 2 weeks on what it says we need to do, about prisoners. One of them is, Hebrews 13:3. So anyway, he felt convicted. So anyway, let me tell you how God has his hand on this. You know how it works in Montgomery. Nobody can come up with a number that they put on the bill. That's just whatever comes up.
Right.
So Senate Bill 316, John 3:16.
Oh, wow.
So God's got his hand on this bill. And I've had several contacts with several state senators since then, one last night, and asked, how I felt about the bill. I said I feel good about it. This thing's 19 pages. I've read it twice. It's amazing.
No,
It
tell
is
me
amazing.
what exactly is in the bill, though.
Well, basically, let me read it kind of establishes what it does is this bill would establish a position in the prison as a prison oversight coordinator in the Alabama Department of Corrections for the Alabama Department of Corrections now this is the key, under the Examiner of Public Accounts to monitor and inspect activities and treatments of inmates in correctional facilities of the Department of Corrections. Now, what happens is that what people don't know, and it's not what's in this bill, but the Examiner of Public Accounts, that's how the Ethics Commission works. So the examiners come in and they have a finding, whether it be a school board or whatever's going on, they come in and have a finding. Then if they have a finding, they turn it over to the Ethics Commission. If it's a finding, and then the Ethics Commission goes in and checks into it. But these people will actually be reporting to the legislature, the governor, and several of the committees that they'll be set up. And it has a committee set up of a multitude of people. At the end, it's just they give them access to everything. And they go back 3 years. They give them access to anything that's happened in the past 3 years. And they have a temporary residence inside there. But this is the key. I&I does all the investigating now, for the most part, in the prisons. But this is an outside agency that's able to go in and find these findings. And they can correspond with the legislators or even the public when they have a reason to go in.
Yeah, and that's
it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's what you need too, is because essentially what you have now is but a police, in so many words, you've got corrections officers policing themselves, and it's all kind of everybody's covering each other's backside. And so to have somebody from the outside come in and say, here's what I'm seeing, and there's basically a supervisor, somebody overseeing what's going on if things are going sideways or if somebody's, not doing their job or acting inappropriately. As far as corrections officers go, or even inmates, or how things are functioning, that's what's been needed for a long time. It's interesting. I watched over the weekend a new, I guess it's on Hulu, a new series called 120 Hours, and it's not for state prisons, but it goes to different county jails all over the country and shows kind of what's going on the inside, and all the ones that they show were overcrowded, which causes immense problems, which is the same thing that's happening in the Alabama prisons with the overcrowding. And as we know, even with the new mega prison, we're not changing the number of beds or anything like that. That's another issue that's got to be solved as far as the overcrowding and how that's going to be, because ultimately that bleeds into a lot of these other issues, the inhumane treatment of people and everything else. And you and I, Stacey, have had long discussions about, the difference in, you've got criminals and they deserve punishment and they've got to do their time and pay their debts to society. But we've also got to treat people in a humane way. That doesn't mean we have to give them all these privileges and this, that, and the other. But we do need to have a baseline of this is humane and this is what we're going to give you. In a lot of cases, that's not happening.
It's not. Andrew, the bottom line is if I said, Andrew, I want you to adopt 10 kids, you'd look at me, and you told me I want to adopt 10 kids. I mean, we're just working people, right? That'd be hard for us to do, wouldn't it? So my point is the state of Alabama is adopting too many people. So that's what we've got to start looking at is, okay, we've got so many officers, okay, and we've got the ratios here. We've got so many medical staff, and we're going to have to draw a circle in the sand, and we're going to say we got 2,300 or 23,000 inmates locked up in Alabama prison, and all we have the officers and the ability to take care of safely is 10,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and then at that point, we're going to have to do something, because when we take somebody in, incarcerate them, we're adopting them in a sense. I mean, we're going to take care of your health care, basic health care, not anything extra. We're going to give you basic food, and food that doesn't say on the box not for human consumption. We're not going to. We're going to give you soap, okay? But we're going to have to, if we got to get to the concept, and that's what I talked to the legislature. I'll be down there this week too, trying to push this bill through, like I've been for the last 2 weeks. I spent more time doing that than campaigning. I mix it up, go down there and get a few signatures, and then go over to the legislature and do this too. So, the bottom line is that we can't take care of more people than we can adopt in the state of Alabama. So they're going to have to either increase the number of officers, or we're just going to have to scale it back and go, hey guys, you know what? We're going to have to look at these people because if we can't take care of them, we can't incarcerate them like that.
Yeah.
So you can't. I mean, we can't go on like this. And I think the legislature. I've had a lot of good conversation with a lot of senators and House members, and they're like, George, what are you doing down here? And I said, well, you know what I'm doing down here. And I said, I'm not being paid. Okay. And they go, well, this is on your heart. And I said, it's been on my heart for a long time. For years I've been coming down here. And I said, but the movie's out. Please watch the movie. And as a matter of fact, it's showing. I'll be in your area tomorrow night. The mayor of Irondale is sponsoring at the public library a viewing of it tomorrow night. So, yeah, so that's something. They're popping up everywhere. And, March 15th, we'll find out if we win the Oscar, because we're in the nomination of the Oscar there. And they'll open that thing up on March 15th, and
that's right.
We win the Oscar. That'll probably kick it into the major theaters here.
Yeah,
it's already in major theaters all over New York and California. So, and you were the first one to do it. You had me on first before anybody else.
Yeah,
and it's on my website. That actual interview, and it was amazing. And I'm thankful for you to take the time to watch the movie and talk about the movie.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
And we've replayed it on the station, that interview on the station several times too, because I'm pretty passionate about what I saw in that documentary. Which, if you haven't heard, it's called The Alabama Solution. It's up for you said it's up for an Oscar.
March 15th.
March 15th. So be on the lookout for that. I've got to hit this break, but real quick, just because people don't know, you are attempting to run for governor. And you're looking to get signatures. Give me your website real quick for people to find any information they need on that front.
Yeah, www.stacyLgeorge.com.
StacyLGeorge.com. All right, Stacy, well, keep in touch with me, man, and keep me updated on that legislation.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, buddy. Okay. There's Stacy George. I remember him, former corrections officer. He was in the movie Alabama Solution. He was the bald guy that they were interviewing. Really good dude. I do like Stacy, and he's doing a lot of good work. He did mention Irondale Public Library with a showing of the movie tomorrow. That would be really cool to go check out. If you haven't seen the movie, perfect opportunity for you to go do that. All right, quick break. More of the line coming up right after this. 205-545 9950. I almost forgot the number. 205-545-9950. Yeah, Stacey George, who's done a lot of work and is involved in Montgomery and all that, running for governor, and I think he's looking for signatures. So if you're interested in that, I mean, a big portion of his campaign has been about what we've seen in the prison systems. And again, there's some bad hombres in the prisons. Like, there's some bad people that deserve the worst punishment, and that's why we have death row and stuff like that. But there's also some people in there that are in there for crimes, and they made some bad decisions in their life, and they do deserve to be treated humanely. And that doesn't mean they get privileges and this, that, and the other, but there's got to be a baseline, that you got to treat people a certain way. And again, watching that series that I was watching over the weekend, there's so much corruption that goes on in the prison systems, and it falls on the corrections officers sometimes. I mean, there's countless times, and anybody that's worked in that business will tell you that corrections officers will bring in contraband because they can make thousands of dollars on top of what they're currently getting paid, which maybe is not that much from families on the outside, by bringing in a cell phone or bringing in drugs or whatever. It's just the overcrowding. There's just a whole laundry list of problems that have got to be addressed. And I've talked about that issue till I'm blue in the face on this show. We've spent many days, long conversations, talking about that particular issue, and people in Montgomery need to wake up to it. Hopefully, no matter who wins the governor's race, they will, in fact, address that issue as well as many others that we have here in the state of Alabama, because Lord knows we have some problems in this state. More of your phone calls coming up after this. Again, 205-545-9950. Hang tight. She's not your baby or cheese nacho baby. What's it saying?
There's a Mexican version where they do say she's nacho baby.
Cheese nacho baby.
Yes.
Cheese nacho baby. I like cheese nachos.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does. Like ballpark cheese nachos. Can't beat that, Coles.
Never enough cheese, though.
That's true. You mentioned in the break room that I should start doing cooking videos.
Yes.
And I'm not a chef. I just, I cook on Sundays, and I'm very limited in what I cook or, whatever. But I could put some videos together for the Over the Line page.
Yeah, call it the chef with feel, because you just go by feel and just intuition.
Call it the blind chef.
The blind chef.
He
there
can't
you
read
go.
the recipe, so he's just feeling his way through it. The blind chef. Coverall RV Services. That's my buddy Dylan, man. So grateful to be partnered with him because I didn't realize until we initially did it a long time ago that we had so many RV people in the audience. And you guys are some RV traveling peeps. And y'all need somebody to take care of you, somebody to do the maintenance on your RV. Could be a newer RV, could be an older RV, a camper, a pop-up, whatever it may be. These things have issues from time to time. Some of it's cosmetic. Sometimes you got a leak in the sunroof or the what do we call that? We call that the whatever you call it. Your floor's rotting out, you got some plumbing issues, whatever it is. There's a lot of different things that could go wrong, and you don't want to have to drag your RV to a dealership or to, somebody's shop to get it worked on, because that's a big hassle, especially if you got a situation where the generator's broke down or whatever. You can get with Dylan. Dylan will actually come to you. He will bring everything he needs to work on your RV to wherever that thing's at. Could be a camper out on your hunting property. Could be at the lake. It's wherever you got it. He'll come to that camper and he'll do the work that you need for it. He's been doing this a very long time, and this is a number that you got to have in your phone. Even if you don't have problems, you're going to have problems at some point. Dylan comes to you, gets it handled. Just an amazing service, man. So glad to be partnered up with him. Like I said, here's the phone number. Again, put this in your phone so you've got it if you don't need them right this second. 205-224-2268. That's 205-224-2268. And on Facebook, Coverall RV Services, you can message him there and get any of the information that you might need or request him to come out to your place or whatever. Coverall RV Services. All right, let's look on the international stage real quick. And if you want to get in, 205-545-9950. Tensions with Iran are continuing to build. It's going further and further by the day. We have ships and military that have surrounded that area, letting the Iranian regime and the Ayatollah know, you better be making a decision quick. And I think last week we said we give him, Trump said, you got about 10 days to make a decision. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen. What are those bad things? We have no idea. But the Ayatollah himself has a little bit of an idea of what that might be, because according to some reports, he is quietly preparing for his own assassination with detailed succession plans. He is putting the pieces in place for people to take over for him in the event that he just somehow blows up one day. If he just explodes. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has reportedly taken steps to prepare for the possibility of his assassination or removal as tensions with the U.S. and Israel intensify. According to New York Times on Sunday, Khamenei elevated longtime ally Larijani to serve as the country's de facto decision maker during January's anti-government unrest. This move has effectively sidelined Iran's elected president, Larijani, a former Revolutionary Guards commander and current secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, is now taking on an expanded role in the state's affairs. He is overseeing security responses to protests, coordinated with regional allies, including Russia and Qatar, and played a central role in nuclear-related discussions involving Washington. Although Larijani has emerged as a dominant figure, it is said that he lacks the clerical credentials traditionally required to become supreme leader. Other names mentioned in succession speculation include the parliament speaker and former President Hassan Rouhani. Reuters previously reported that U.S. military planning could include targeting senior Iranian figures in the event of a strike, though officials did not name any specific individuals. Sources cited in the Times report that Khamenei has developed a layered succession framework for key military and government posts with multiple designated replacements per role. So he's essentially gone in and said, all right, here's our lineup. If this guy goes or this guy gets blown up or has to flee or whatever, you're going to take over. If he gets killed, you're going to take over. You're going to take over. That, while that may lend itself to the thought process of, well, if you get rid of him, you're just dealing with some other radical, it shows how serious they are taking this posture by us, by the Trump administration. And maybe that results in a deal being made on the nuclear front. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? You're dealing with religious zealot radicals that are absolutely not going to back off their beliefs. They were just in their parliament the other day burning, printed off pictures of the American and Israeli flag, chanting death to America, death to Israel. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Then in Mexico, and you've likely seen this, chaos erupting all over Mexico in some of their busiest cities. The CJNG cartel has unleashed chaos at the Guadalajara airport and in Puerto Vallarta after their leader, El Mincho, had been killed in a military raid. There have been reports of American tourists taken hostage, other shocking videos all across the internet. So essentially what you had is the Mexican military, with the help of U.S. intelligence, took out one of the top guys, or the top guy in the CJNG cartel. And in response to that, they started attacking civilians. And I saw one video of where they rolled up on a gas station, started firing on people, pulled the pumps out at the gas station, started pouring gas all over the ground, and then just lit it on fire and took off. Like, it's crazy, some of these videos. The attack has led to widespread panic, with videos showing passengers and airport staff in Guadalajara fleeing for cover amid reports of gunfire and armed confrontations. The violence comes just hours after Mexican authorities confirmed El Mincho's elimination in a targeted operation in Jalisco, reportedly conducted with U.S. intelligence assistance. Guadalajara is one of Mexico's busiest airports. One clip shared by investigative journalist Laura Loomer shows airport workers in high visibility vests and passengers running from what appears to be an underground or tarmac area. She said, quote, after the U.S. eliminated top cartel leader in Mexico today, Jalisco new generation cartel has retaliated by storming the Guadalajara airport with armed gunmen. They are now taking American tourists hostage nearby highways and hotels. Not really surprising, but it is kind of a big deal for this to be happening. And essentially, you got a problem on your hands in Mexico. and they're going to be likely asking the assistance of the U.S. Not that we're going to put boots on the ground or anything, but it shows you how long the cartel has run things down there. I saw one video of this El Mincho. It was an audio video of him talking to police officers. There was some sort of conflict or standoff with the CNJ what did I call it? The CJNG cartel members in a standoff with police, and he was on the phone with presumably the police captain or some high-ranking police officer telling them, "Hey, you better get your guys to stand down, otherwise I'm going to come kill you and all of your family members." He says, "We had a deal. I didn't make this deal. I didn't pay you all this money for you to be doing this kind of crap." And the police officer on the phone's like, "Yes, sir. I understand, sir. I'm calling them now to tell them to stand down." And it was just a look into how embedded the cartels are. So when something this drastic happens, such as their leader being taken out, all hell's going to break loose because they've been able to run the show for years and years and years. They were essentially the government. And now that Mexico is trying to, or is being forced to by us to clean their act up, they are now having to confront this ugly reality that they themselves have created over the years. Again, crazy, and I'm flipping through it now. Crazy, crazy video out of Mexico. And I believe there was a response from Donald Trump. I think he posted something on Truth Social about it yesterday. And let me see if I can find it. A lot of Justin Trudeau memes, by the way. I have to get through those before I find out. Let's see. I don't see it. I'll have to look it up because God, good Lord, man, he posts so much stuff. Yeah, it is hard to go through some of this. I wish he'd just come back to X since Elon Musk owns it. I know he can't. I know he's got to stick with his social media company, but still, it's kind of like just come on back, bro. Because most of us aren't flipping through Truth Social on a regular basis. When's the last time you've been on Truth Social, John Bird?
6 months ago.
6 months ago. See? Can't do that, man. Get back on Twitter. Mr. President, please, we want you back. We want to see all your epic tweets in real time because we love them so much. And we like to watch the people get triggered. We like to read the comments and watch the insanity. Watch the Trump derangement syndrome, which has reached a brand new level over the weekend where a 21-year-old from North Carolina, went to Mar-a-Lago, broke into a secure area at Mar-a-Lago, and was shot dead by Secret Service and local police. That 21-year-old has now been identified. I will tell you who that is when we get back. 205-545-9950. Also looking out of Los Angeles, Nick Reiner, the son of Rob Reiner, has just pleaded not guilty to murdering his parents. Remember that old thing. There's been so many crazy stories that have happened just over the past few weeks. It's hard to even keep up with them. 205-545-9950. More show coming up. So the armed man who was fatally shot after allegedly breaching the secure perimeter at Mar-a-Lago early Sunday morning has now been identified as uh, Austin Tucker Martin from North Carolina. 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin.
Did it say what town he was from?
No.
Probably from Charlotte. That's what I'm thinking.
Probably from Charlotte. The breach reportedly occurred near the property's north gate as another vehicle was exiting. Donald Trump was not there. But I'm looking at a photo that was published by the New York Post, and it's a photo of him, presumably his mother and father, and maybe his brother, who is in the Army. Looks like they're at some sort of ceremony. They said, according to his social media, his family was frantically looking for him after he disappeared on Saturday night. Tucker Martin's social media shows that he was obsessed with drawing scenes from the golf courses in the Sandhills region, which includes the famed Pinehurst. Is that in North Carolina, or is that in Florida?
Yes, no. Pinehurst is somewhere near central Alabama, maybe a little bit left.
You mean central North Carolina?
Central, yes. They have places all over. No. Central North Carolina,
Okay.
yeah, slightly to probably like close to the middle of the state.
His Instagram includes a series of bleak watercolors and black and white sketches, most appearing to show Quail Ridge Golf Course, roughly 15 to 20 miles north of his home in Cameron. Okay, so he's from Cameron. The posts are accompanied by sparse electronic music and have almost zero social media interaction. According to the U.S. Secret Service spokesman, Martin had been reported missing by his family for several days prior to the incident. Authorities believe he drove south from South Carolina, acquiring the firearm along the way. He basically showed up with a shotgun and a gas canister. He was confronted on the property by two Secret Service agents and a Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputy. According to the sheriff, Martin was ordered to drop his equipment. Authorities state that he put down the gas can but raised the shotgun into the shooting position, at which point the agents and deputies fired their weapons, fatally shooting him. President Trump and First Lady Melania were not at the resort at the time of the breach. They were at the White House. Probably should. I mean, if you're going after Trump, I presume you are, you might want to check and see where he's at, see if he's there.
Yeah, but they're not gonna do that. And I guess he had decided to go all the way, that if he couldn't get to Trump, he was going to unalive himself by police.
Yeah,
seems
that way. Federal authorities, including the FBI, are now working to determine Martin's motive and compile a psychological profile as part of an active investigation. At this time, officials say there are no immediate indication that the suspect was previously known to law enforcement and that the motive behind the intrusion remains unknown. Residents in the surrounding Palm Beach area have been urged to review any available home surveillance footage that may aid investigators in reconstructing the suspect's movements leading up to the breach. So, weird story, and no real background on what this guy was what his motive was. I mean, outside of the obvious that we could guess, but how many times do we have to see these breaches? And thank God for the Secret Service and the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office for doing their job and being there to protect Mar-a-Lago. But, there's if this in fact goes back to Trump and this guy was like, out of his mind, flaming lib, whatever, whether he's heavily medicated or not, like we gotta have a conversation, because this is not happening to other politicians. This is happening to the president of the United States. This doesn't happen to Democrat presidents. This didn't happen to Joe Biden. And he got to stay at his home all the time. And now the not just Donald Trump himself, but the entire Trump family are constantly under threat. For what? for doing what's right, for doing what people voted for him to do. It's insanity. But again, investigate the family, see what they know. They obviously, the fact that they were frantically looking for him in the lead up to this tells me that they probably knew the kid was a little bit off his rocker and was afraid something. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like if a family member goes missing, you get concerned. But something tells me that they knew this kid wasn't all there, or they had a couple screws loose, and so, and no indication that he was in the military or anything like that. But his brother was, and it makes me wonder if there's any tie back to that, where his brother's boss is the commander in chief. Maybe that drove him to God knows what. Speaking of the military, I saw one story, and we talked a lot about fraud, especially out of Minnesota, New York, and California. I saw one where a U.S. airman and his husband were busted in a massive $11 million scam, stealing $3 million in government medical supplies to fund a lavish lifestyle. That's pretty ballsy. Might give you some details on that when we get back. 545-9950. Hang tight.